Hello, Term 5, Lesson 7, Working with Decimals Mentally. If you've got the textbook there, it is on page 97 and 98. Your warm-up, doing a little bit of multiplying and dividing. For question 1, you can use this table to help you with your division, moving the digits over the right number of places. Okay, press pause, have a good go at this, and then press play when you're ready to go through the answers. Right, okay. First question, 2 divided by 10. There's only one 0 in 10, so you're only moving it over one place. And fill up the ones with a 0. So it'd be 0.2. 22 divided by 100. 2 zeros, so we're going to move 2 places. So 1, 2. And that 2 is going to go 1, 2. There's my decimal. Fill up a 0 here. So it's going to be 0.22. C, 2 divided by 100. So 2 is going to move 2 places, 1, 2, fill up with a 0, and fill up with a 0. So it'll be 0.02. That answer popped down a bit too early, but there we go. 22 divided by 1,000, that's 3 places. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So my 2 and 2 is going to go here. 0.0. So it's 0.022. And then 2 divided by 1,000. 1, 2, 3. Fill up with a 0, and a 0. So 0.002. Okay, copy and complete these multiplications. 4 times 20. We can do it as 4 times 2, and then multiply by 10, because 20 is 10 times bigger than 2. 4 times 2 we can manage, is 4 times 2 is 8, times 10 is 80. 6 times 300, so we can do it as 6 times 3, and then multiply by 100, because 300 is 100 times bigger than 3. So the 6 times 3 we can do as 18, times 100 is 1,800. 40 times 8, we can do it as the 4 times 8, and then multiply by 10. So 4 times 8 is 32, times 10 is 320. Now we can always copy and complete these multiplications using partitioning. Partitioning is just splitting it up into the hundreds and into the 20s and into the ones and whatever numbers you've got, just splitting it up into its values. So we've got 3 times 24. We can do 3 times the 20, and then we can add 3 times the 4. So 3 times 20, add 3 times 4. You see we've still got the 24 here. As above, on question 2, we can do this as 3 times 2 is 6. Make it 10 times bigger, so it'd be 60. Add 3 times 4 is 12. Add those together, we've got 72. 8 times 26, so we're going to do 8 times 20 and 8 times 6. 8 times 20 and 8 times 6. 8 times 2 is 16. Make it 10 times bigger is 160. 8 times 6 is 48. Add those two together. The 60 and the 40 make 100, so it's going to be 208. 42 times 7, they're just round the other way, but it still works in the same way. The 40 times 7 and the 2 times 7. So 4 times 7 is 28, but make it 10 times bigger, so it'd be 280. The 2 times 7 is 14, and add those two together. So for the last one, we've got 56 times 3, so we're going to partition it to be the 50 times 3, add the 6 times 3. So 50 times 3, add 6 times 3. Okay, you can still see we've got the 56 multiplied by 3. So 5 times 3 is 15. Add the 0 to make it 10 times bigger. 6 times 3 is 18. Add them together, 168. Okay, just press pause if you need to make any corrections and press play when we go to the next slide. Okay, so now we're going to work with decimals. Much the same as what we've just done, but kind of the other way, using both multiplying by 10 to make it bigger and then dividing by 10 to take it back to where it should be. So 4 times 0.2, if I make that 0.2 into a whole number, I can actually manage that multiplication now. So 0.2 times 10 will make it into a whole number that I can multiply, but I need to remember that once I've multiplied, I need to divide by 10 to get the correct answer. As I've multiplied by 10, I need to divide by 10 to bring it back to where it should be. So 4.02, I can rewrite that as 4 times 2 and then divide by 10. So 4 times 2 we know is 8. Divide by 10, that means we're going to get smaller. The digits move over this way. So our answer is actually 0.8. Okay, just press pause while you copy that example into your book, and then we'll carry on. Okay, so I'm just going to talk you through the first one here, and then I'd like you to do the rest on your own. So don't press pause yet, we're just going to talk through A. So we've got 3 times 0.2. I'm going to multiply my 0.2 by 10 to make it a whole number. Okay, so I'm going to have 3 times 2, but because I've multiplied by 10 to get it to a 2, I then need to divide my answer by 10 to get the correct answer. 3 times 2 is 6, but I need to divide by 10. So I think that'll come over here in this little box. Yeah, so 6, divide by 10, my numbers are going to move over to the right because I'm making a smaller number. So my answer is 0.6. Okay, I'm going to multiply by 10 to make this a whole number, which means I will then have to divide by 10 to put it back to where it should be. There you can do 3 times 2. We need to divide by 10. They move the other way, and our final answer is 0.6. Okay, so now press pause on the video and have a go at B through to I. Okay, just write them down in the same way that I've shown you for A, and you should be okay. Right, okay, let's try B and C. Right, so B is 6 times 0.3. 6 times 0.3, I'm going to multiply by 10 to make that a whole number, and then I must divide by 10. So 6 times 3 is 18. So 18, divide by 10. My digits are going to move over here. There's a decimal in here. So 8 is going to come into the tenths. 1 is going to go into the ones. So I'm going to end up with 1.8, and that's my answer. So C, 4 times 0.7. I'm going to multiply by 10, and then I'm going to divide by 10. So 4 times 7, divide by 10. 4 times 7 is 28. Divide by 10. Again, we're dividing, so we're making it smaller. By 10 is just one place over. So my answer is 2.8. Okay, anytime you need to press pause so you can catch up, please do so, and then just press play when you're ready to go on. So D, 8 times 0.4, I'm going to multiply by 10 to get a whole number. Remember to divide by 10 when you've done that. So 0.4 times 10 is 4. So 8 times 4 is 32, but then I need to divide that by 10. Dividing, I'm getting a smaller number. We're going to move one place over. So my answer is 3.2. E, 9 times 0.6. multiply my 0.6 by 10 to give me 6, but then I need to remember to divide by 10. 9 times 6 is 54. Divide by 10, you're moving one place. My answer would be 5.4. Okay, F, 0.8 times 2. They're just round the other way. We've had the whole number here at the front for these first 5. Now they're just switching them round, and the same thing though. So I'm going to multiply my 0.8 to give me a whole number, but then I will need to divide by 10. So 8 times 2 is 16. Divide by 10. They're moving one place over. 1.6 is my answer. 0.7 times 8. I think you know this process now. Multiply by 10 and then divide your answer by 10. So 7 times 8 is 56. Divide by 10. Then moving one place over, it's 5.6. Okay, 2 more to go. H, 0.4 times 5. Multiply my 0.4 by 10. I get 4. Remember to divide by 10. So 4 times 5 is 20. Divide by 10. That 0, I don't need to bother because it doesn't change the value. Here's my decimals. 0 tenths doesn't change the value that it is still 2. Just 2. Last one, 0.8 times 6. Multiply by 10 and divide by 10. So 8 times 6 is 48. Divide by 10 is going to be 4.8. Okay? So have a go at 4 questions here on your own. Press pause and then press play when you're ready to go through the answers. Right, okay, this was just the same as on the previous page, but to make my 0.05 a whole number, I've had to multiply by 100 to move it 2 places. So you multiply by 100, which means you then have to divide by 100. So 7 times 5, divide by 100. 7 times 5 is 35. We need to divide that by 100, so let's just do it on my grid. We're moving 2 places over, 1, 2. The 5 goes over, 1, 2. So my answer is 0.35. B, 4 times 0.3. I'm going to multiply by 100 to get a whole number, 1, 2 places, which means I've got to divide my answer by 100. So 4 times 3 is 12. Divide by 100, let's just check it out on the grid here, is 0.12. 3 times 0.06, 1, 2. I need to multiply by 100 to get a whole number, which means I need to divide by 100 as well. So 3 times 6 is 18. Divide by 100, let's do it on the grid, is 0.18. Okay, I'm doing D down here. I've kind of run out of space. 0.01 times 9. So I need to multiply this by 100 to get a whole number, which means I need to divide by 100 to keep it as a correct sum. 1 times 9 is 9. Divide by 100. Let's check it out on the grid. Needs to move over 2 places. 1, 2. There's nothing else to move over, so I need to fill up the tenths and the ones with a 0. So my answer is 0.09. Okay, have a go at question 6. Press pause and then press play when you're ready to go through the answer. Right, okay. Over here we've got a hint. 1 Australian dollar equals 0.6 GB pounds, Great Britain pounds. Okay, so To change 1 to 7 Australian dollars, you need to do 1 times 7. So we have to do 0.6 times 7 on this side as well. So 7 Australian dollars equals 7 times 0.6. Oh, that was weird. Okay, so we need to multiply by 10 to make that a whole number, which means we've got to divide by 10 for our answer. So 7 times 6 is 42. Divide by 10, let's check it out on the grid. 1 place over, 1 place over. So it'd come out as 4.2 Great Britain pounds, GB pounds. Remember, on a calculator, 4.2, we have our money is 2 digits, so it'd be 20 pence. 4.2 pounds is £4.20. Okay, that's, I suppose it's okay to write that answer, but this is the more correct answer for you to do. And anybody marking your paper would really expect to see this answer. Okay, press pause if you need to catch up on that one, and press play when you want to continue. Okay, use a mental method to work out these calculations. The first one has been started for you. Okay, it's just what we have been doing, but this time we've got decimals on both sides. They're showing it now as being 2 divided by 10 times 6 divided by 10. And then they're looking at the 2 times 6 and then divide by 10, divide by 10. That's like saying divide by 100 in one go. You might like to write it down that way. It's not quite the way I would do it. I think I would do this multiplying this by 10, multiplying this by 10, and then just saying 100. I think I would be happier going just to that line myself. But please copy down the way they have shown you. Some of you might find that easier. Otherwise, just think about multiplied by 10, show a 2, multiplied by 10 to show the 6. And because you've had to multiply by 10 and by 10, 10 times 10 is 100, so you need to divide by 100 to get back to your proper answer. Okay, I hope that wasn't too confusing. So press pause and have a go, copy A down and have a go at B to G. Right, okay, so let's have a little look through. So again, I'm not quite sure why I'm writing this one down again. It's just the way they've written it. 0.2 times 10, 0.6 times 10 gives you the whole numbers. But dividing by 10 and dividing by 10 is the same as dividing by 100. So they're going to move over 2 places. 1, 2, 1, 2. So the answer is 0.12. Okay, so for B, we've got 0.3 times 0.9. So I'm going to multiply this by 10 to get a whole number, multiply this by 10 to get a whole number. Because I've multiplied 2 numbers by 10, I need to divide by 10, divide by 10, which is like divide by 100. And 3 9s are 27. So my grid, if I put 27, I'm dividing by 100. 1, 2, 1, 2. Answer is 0.27. Okay, C, 0.5 times 0.7. Multiply by 10, multiply by 10. So that means you're going to do divide by 100. 5 times 7 is 35 on my grid. 2 places over, 2 places over. Final answer is 0.35. Okay, so D is 0.6 times 0.4. Multiply by 10, multiply by 10, which means we need to divide by 10, divide by 10. 6 times 4 is 24. Divide by 10 and divide by 10 is the same as divide by 100. So 24, divide by 100, 2 places over. Answer is 0.24. E, 0.9 times 0.8. Multiply these both by 10, which means you divide by 10 twice. 9 times 8 is 72. Divide by 100. 2 places over, 72. Answer 0.72. F, 0.11 times 0.4. So 0.11 times 10, so it's moving over. Oh, hang on. Just look at this one. To get a whole number, we're not going to multiply by 10. 1, 2. We're multiplying by 100. This one, 1, 2. So we're going to multiply this by 100 and this by 10. Okay, so to get a whole number. So as we had to multiply by 100, we need to divide by 100. This one we only multiplied by 10, so we need to divide by 10. So 11 times 4 is 44. And divide by 100 and divide by 10. 1, 2, we've got 3 zeros. So it's like dividing by 1,000. So 44 divided by 1,000. Let's put our 44 down here. 1,000 has 3 zeros. Oh, where's 44 gone? There he is. We need to move over 3 places. 1, 2, 3. And this one, 1, 2, 3. Remember, that's the decimal. So it would be 0.044. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and that one, 1, 2, 3. Fill up your gaps with zeros. Last one, 0.2 times 0.12. So this one, we're multiplying by 10. But to get this one as a whole number, to get that 2 over, we've got to go multiply by 100. 1, 2, 1, 2. So it's a bit like this one. So we're going to times by 10, times by 100, which means we need to divide by 10, divide by 100, and we've got 2 times 12. So 2 times 12 is 24. Divide by 1,000. Remember, I've got 1, 2, 3 zeros, so I'm going to divide by 1,000. If I put my 24 in my grid over here, we're going to move over 3 places for 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Fill up with a 0 and a 0. 0.24 is your final answer. Okay, remember, anytime, just press pause and fill in what you need to fill in, and then press play again. Okay, so your final slide for today's lesson, a reasoning question. Sam says 0.8 times 0.5 gives the answer 0.4. So the first part of the question, is Sam correct? And show you're working to explain whether you think he is or he isn't. And then B, write a calculation that gives the answer 0.4. So press pause, have a go, and then press play and we'll look at the answers. Right, okay, so let's work out what 0.8 times 0.5 gives and prove whether it does give 0.4 or not. So 0.8 times 10, 0.5 times 10. Times 10 times 10 means we need to do divide by 10, divide by 10, which is the same as divide by 100. So 5 times 8 is 40, divide by 100. So we have 40 in here, 1, 2 places, that's a decimal, fill up with a 0. 0.4 is our answer. And then we need to say, Sam is correct. That's the question. Is Sam correct? So you need to say yes, he is, or no, he's not. Oh, why have we gone backwards? Okay, so Sam is correct because 0.8 times 0.5 equals 0.40, which equals 0.4, because we don't need this 0 in the hundredths. It has no value. It doesn't change the fact that it's 0.4. Okay, and then any kind of calculation, any kind of calculation would have done for the last one just to show that answer. Oh, I can go back. Okay, write a calculation that gives the answer 0.4. So just write that in your paper. Yeah, there could be various different things there. And that's your last slide for today. And we'll go on to question 9 with the next lesson from the same unit. Okay, thank you for watching and listening.